We're at Research Conference and I'm joined by Tracy Ann Palmer. She has a poster presentation for this year's conference and it's all about some research she's done into student subject selection.
What I did is I was interested particularly in how students chose their subjects, with the idea that maybe there was something in the way they were choosing subjects, the environment, I suppose the marketplace, that was affecting their choice of science. What I found out is that students seem to go through this two-stage process of choosing their subjects. So the first stage sounded really emotive. I'd get comments like, "I never want to see that subject again." And they would throw subjects out that they didn't like and they'd take subjects that they really liked. And then they'd look at subjects that they needed. So if they were going to do a course, they would do that. Then after they went over that first emotional level, the second level became quite rational. They'd start asking advice from parents, interestingly not so much from teachers, but I'll get back to that. And they would look at job prospects and things like that, and then they'd start having a look at that next layer. So that was, I suppose, the main finding coming out of it. But I can tell you some more about what that means for science. It wasn't good. And the reason it wasn't good is that they told me that science was a subject that was only useful if you wanted to be an engineer or do maths or something really stereotypically scientific. They also said to me that I said to them, "Oh, who do you ask for advice?" And I said, I'd get back to this, who they'd ask for advice. And I said, teachers and so forth, and they said, well, teachers, and I probed into that, and they told me that they thought teachers recommending their own subject were biased, and they were very resistant to being marketed to. And this is interesting because there is actually some research that supports that very modern teenagers, and of course these people, these young people are 16 years old, very resistant to that, being told what to do. So all of this came together to mean that we want to tell them that science is useful going forward and perhaps they should consider it to keep their doors open. And the one person who knows the most about that, their school teacher, is someone they're not going to listen to. What I did find out, and what I think we can do, is we can impact the choice of science at that moment in time that science is being considered as a future subject for years 11 and 12. So for me that would be having people come into the school who are not teachers but people who the students will identify, maybe students from previous years coming back who said, "Oh, well, I wasn't sure about science but I took it and look where I am now." Maybe people in industry coming in and saying, "Look, I actually work in an engineering company and it's useful for us," but then someone else comes in who works for a modelling company, whatever's relevant for the students that interests them. So that's one thing we can do. We can be very careful about the language we use when we have subject selection events to talk about science being something that if you're ambivalent, it's really not a good idea to throw science out. Also that students are going to feel that the teachers will support them in the subject. The students believed the subject was more difficult, and when I spoke to the teachers in the schools, they by and large agreed that it was a more cognitive, challenging subject for the students. So to help these students to know that they will be supported through this, and good things take a little extra work. And if we want critical thinking skills, we want these kids to have to live in a world we don't understand, this is a great subject for them to keep doing.